Hello and welcome to the second episode of the F1 Breakdown podcast. And with a week to go until the Belgian Grand Prix, this podcast will just basically be a preview of what could happen in the Belgian Grand Prix. And well, the Belgian Grand Prix, to be honest with you, I've looked at the weather forecast, it is looking like a wet one. Rain could be on Friday, cloudy on Saturday, and rain on Sunday. So it might not be a wet qualifying, but it could be a wet race, which is going to lead to some entertaining race at Belgium, because it's always entertaining in the rain at Belgium. Looking back at last year though, last year also was an amazing race for Formula 1 at Belgium. We had Webber's fantastic overtake going into Eau Rouge with Fernando Alonso, and that was absolutely fantastic. I remember watching it, as I just said it, I was sort of stunned as I sort of visualised it in my head, that ever decreasing gap going into the first part of Eau Rouge, and then just flicking it through, having faith that Alonso wasn't going to just hit him. And he said that in his interview afterwards, that he knew Alonso would not go into the side of him. So that's why he said he wouldn't do that with any other driver, because if it was any other driver, they would have been heading up to the wall. And we also had Lewis Hamilton's crash with Kamui Kobayashi going into the Lecombe, where that was another. Well, Lewis had a real bad stage in that. That was like kicked off Lewis's bad run of form, because he went out in the Singapore Grand Prix in the next race. Another collision with Massa. So yeah, that was like the start of a bit of a Lewis poor run. And we had Sebastian Vettel winning, of course. Sebastian Vettel with his dominance, with Mark Webber finishing second. So it was a 1-2 for Red Bull, and then Alonso finishing up the podium positions. So yeah, it was an entertaining 2011 Grand Prix of Belgium. And, looking forward to this year then, who could be on form? Well, I think there's going to be a couple of teams that could be on form. I think Lotus will have to be on form this race with that passive DRS thing that they have. You know, Raikkonen's saying yesterday he said that they're going to go for his first win and hopefully help that push on for his title, because if they can get a good result here, they can probably get a good result in Monza. They can, use that advantage in India, because India got some long straights, and Korea got some long straights as well. And you've got 130R at Japan, where they can use that effectively. You've got some long straights at Abu Dhabi, you've got, that long sweeping bit of Brazil, so they're going to be key for the next couple of races in different parts, but Spa and Monza are going to be the big ones this season. And Lotus think that the rear ring device that they have will give them at least half a second on the straights around Spa, which could probably give them around half a second in Monza as well, so they're going to be up there. I can't see Lotus not being up there. They have to be up there. If they're not up there, then something's gone horribly wrong. So Lotus have got themselves some work to do by making sure that they are up there this weekend. Can Raikkonen win this title? He said he's going to go for it. You got to remember 2007 though, when Raikkonen won his World Championship. He was kind of out of the race. People were like, saying Raikkonen will not win it. He's too far behind Hamilton and Massa. And he came back and had a strong end to the season, and it was Spa, I believe, that kick-started his comeback into the title. Why can't it happen this year? He got more races than he did in 2007 to get back into the championship, A poor result for Mark Webber and Alonso, and if Raikkonen was to win, he's back in it. I don't know how people have said he's not in this title fight. But as I said, he feels he can do it, and I feel he can still do it. I don't think he's not a title contender. I think he's very much in the hunt. Only 8 points off Mark Webber, and a bit of gap between him then and Alonso. But Alonso could be due a bad race, as you could say, because even Sebastian Vettel. I know Sebastian Vettel retired in the Abu Dhabi, and the title's already wrapped up. But it comes in one stage of the season where everyone has a bad race. So I predict Lotus will do well. My prediction is that Raikkonen will win this Belgian Grand Prix. And it might not happen, but I feel, Raikkonen on the form he's in, got a lot of second places, first year of his comeback after 2 years out. I think he's looking good. He looked like he hasn't been away from the sport for 2 years. He looks like he's been in the hunt every season since he's been away. Another team that said that they could be on form is Sauber. Now, Sauber, it was Kamui Kobayashi who said that the car should suit their style, because they got he said they got good handling, so you can he can do the poo-on section very nicely. You got the hairpin. He said the car should be suited for those sort of corners. That Stavlo, that tight little, the car should be good, and the car is not too bad in straight line speed as well. So he's hoping that Sauber could have a good result in Spa, and hopefully aiming for 5th, 6th, maybe 4th position. I don't know if Sauber will get that. I think the cars in front of them will be up there as well. But you never know. Sauber, Perez has given us a few shock results. 2nd place in Malaysia, 3rd place in Montreal. So there's no reason why Sauber can't be up there. Also, McLaren looked like they could pull off a good result here in Spa, I reckon. They've always had the updates going through to every race, and I hear there's some decent upgrade packages coming for McLaren. And Lewis Hamilton, he's on really good form, coming off the win in Budapest. He's had a month, to sort of relax. And I reckon, Lewis Hamilton and Jensen, I reckon all the F1 drivers will be eagerly anticipating the Belgian Grand Prix to be back in a Formula 1 car. And, I reckon McLaren will be quick. I reckon McLaren will be up there. I have Hamilton down to finish 2nd in the Belgian Grand Prix. McLaren should be fine. I think, they were quick there last year. They've been building their speed up. Button saw getting back on pace where he was, because he's had really and truly a dismal start, excluding the win that he had in Australia, which was a great start, really and truly. And then he's just gone backwards. He was there again in China. He finished 2nd, but from there on, it's been sort of bad for Jensen Button. So we'll see how McLaren do. Mercedes, now I don't think Mercedes will do that well, but it's Michael Schumacher's 300th Grand Prix. It was also Barry Keller's 300th Grand Prix at Spa, I believe, last year as well. So Schumacher's hoping for a good result. I don't know if he'll have a celebration helmet like he did last year, because it was also his 20th anniversary. Going into spot the Belgian Grand Prix. So he's hoping for a good result. I think, he's hoping that the team, I haven't heard anything special coming out of Mercedes for this Grand Prix, but I reckon he's hoping for a decent amount of points. I reckon if Mercedes finish 6th, 7th or 8th, I think, it's a job well done for Mercedes. But really for Mercedes, is 6th, 7th or 8th good enough? I don't think so. And then who will struggle? Now, I've only got Red Bull. I think Red Bull will struggle. I think Red Bull will be fine in the 2nd sector of that track, where it is more corners. You've got the hairpin, you've got Pouin, and you've got other, corners that demand good handling and good downforce, which I think Red Bull will be quick in that sector. But the 1st sector and the final sector are all speed, and we've seen already that this season Red Bull are one of the slowest in the speed traps. They're mixing it with the Caterhams and the Marussias on the speed trap things, which I think they'll struggle. But as I said last season, Red Bull were 1 and 2 at this track, so I could all be in vain, and everything I said could be just a load of rubbish. But I think they might struggle because last season they had that rear blown diffuser, everything that really helped them, and teams hadn't really mastered it, and there was a bit of a gap between teams in speed. But this season there's not that much of a gap. As I said in the first podcast, there's not much of a gap, so I reckon Red Bull will then struggle a bit more than they did in previous years. I reckon they'll still be up there. I have Vettel to finish 5th. I think it's going to be a tight Grand Prix. And Mark Webber, I reckon, will finish around 6th, maybe 4th. I don't know, but around there. But I can't see Red Bull doing that well. They might do well. You can't not underestimate Red Bull. Red Bull are a fantastic side. If they're not having a quick day anyway, they'll use the strategy to get themselves back up the field. So they're a clever bunch of people at Red Bull, and I reckon they will prove me wrong now I've said it, but I have a feeling they'll struggle, because they're really struggling straight line speed, and you're virtually going flat, for about 27 seconds. I hear it from Lassour's hairpin up until Lecom, flat for 27 seconds, and if you don't have the straight line speed, you're going to be under threat, especially if Red Bull maybe qualify and pole, and then they don't get away, because we all know Vettel does get away, but say if he doesn't get away, then he comes under threat from the DRS, then, the DRS, they're going to be easy pickings, I reckon, on that DRS zone. So, we'll see how it goes for Red Bull. So that's really it then. So, my predictions for the Belgian Grand Prix, I think it's going to be entertaining race, especially if it's wet, because if it's wet, then I think my predictions probably will be blown out of the water. And I don't know if Lotus's DRS thing will be as effective in the wet, we don't know. Because every time it was wet conditions, they didn't like it that much, and they took it off the car. Maybe because they couldn't test it, but when it's on the car, it could be in the wet conditions, so it might not be as effective in the wet conditions. But my predictions for the Grand Prix, I've got Raikkonen to finish first, I've got Lewis Hamilton to finish second, I've got Fernando Alonso to finish third. Now that was kind of a tough one for me because I didn't know, because Ferrari weren't really quick at Budapest, but you never can Alonso. Remember the form he's in at the moment. Alonso, I think it was hard not to put him further down the grid. So I'm going for Alonso to finish third. And Grosjean, I'm going to go for Grosjean to finish fourth. I think, if that Lotus is quick, then if Raikkonen's going to be up there, and Grosjean just on equally as good form. So Grosjean, I reckon, will be up there. And then I got Vettel to finish fifth. So that is my top five. I don't know. You can post your top five. There's a new forum on our forum page. But yeah, I've got to set up a little post where you can post your top five, and let's see if we can get any correct top fives. There won't be any prizes, but just the satisfaction really that you predicted the top five and you were the psychic, really and truly, for the Belgian Grand Prix. So yeah, there's my predictions. Raikkonen first, Hamilton second, third Alonso, fourth Grosjean, fifth Sebastian Vettel. So yeah, you can put your predictions down. You can put your predictions down on the comment section on YouTube. You can put them in the forum. I'll put a link to the forum page in the description on YouTube. You can have your say. You can easily, as I said in the last podcast, it's really easy to join up if you're on Facebook, Twitter, anything. It will just be a big list. There's a huge list once you click on sign in with whatever. And if you click Facebook, you'll sign in with your Facebook account. You won't get things to your Facebook account. It's just, it'll be your picture on Facebook and you've signed in. And if you want to sign in, when you go back to the website, you just click sign in with Facebook and you sign in straight away. And you can sign in with Twitter, whatever. Whatever you want to sign in with, you could probably sign in with. That's it, yeah, you can leave your predictions on the forum, you can leave your predictions on the comment page. They'll all be taken into account, and then we'll see if anybody's lucky enough to predict the correct results. So subscribe to us, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and so forth, and hope to see you soon.